I'm here to talk about more about Jesse Clemmons and his bout with depression. Because in the first 5 chapters, he wrestles with depression, with thoughts of suicide, and feeling worthless and alone and a nobody, and feeling so unloved. And I put a reflection of my life into that part in those first 5 chapters. But he struggles with thoughts of suicide. He struggles with the feeling of worthlessness. He didn't get any love or support from his family members because they didn't understand what he was going through. He had went through a divorce, and he had been dismissed from the band that he was in, Red Alert. And he starts feeling so worthless. And he battles through those thoughts. And he's had the devil tell him, you're worthless, you're nothing, you're nobody, your loneliness proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt. You're dog dung. Why else are you alone? You might as well commit suicide. Nobody's going to miss you when you die. And he hears that over and over again. And of course, his family, his parents didn't understand what he was going through, nor do his older sisters and younger brothers. He's the third of 5 children. His 2 oldest sisters are both married. His younger brother, the older of his younger brothers, is married, and his youngest brother is engaged to be married, so they couldn't understand what he was going through. And so he's fighting with depression, and he basically wrestles with it alone. He didn't really have anybody to go to. He didn't have that moral and emotional support until he went to a place called the Weeping Hyena, which was founded by a man who studied to be a psychiatrist at the University of Florida, whose name was Ichabod Taylor. But he found that a lot of people can't afford a psychiatrist. And so he goes into business and opens a place called the Weeping Hyena, it's almost like a bar, but not quite. He serves only beer, but it's a 2-drink maximum. And the policy is you still have sorrows to drown them with caffeine. And he also has a live band of a blues man named Al One Wolf. He was also a product of a broken marriage, as was Ichabod. Because Ichabod was divorced when his wife left him and took their daughter somewhere north, and Al One lost his marriage too, so they kind of helped each other out. And Al One Wolf plays the blues, and he sings the songs that he does because he knows what it's like to be hurting. And the Weeping Hyena is really a haven for those that are hurting, for those who have nobody to turn to. Because the policy is a listening ear and a compassionate heart are free. Because everybody needs that. Every hurting person needs that. And it's unfortunate that the church kind of turns its back on the hurting, on the lonely, and the brokenhearted. Jesus loved them. But why isn't the church doing the same? Jesus loved the brokenhearted, but it's sad that the church is not doing the same. In the story, the Weeping Hyena was never meant. The Weeping Hyena was never meant to take the place of God. Not by any means. But to be a haven for those that are brokenhearted. To come where those that are hurting could go to talk to somebody. If only there was a place like that. And it's sad and unfortunate that the church kind of turns its back on the brokenhearted. And those that are hurting go through a bad marriage or hard times. And a lot of people like me are hurting, have nobody at all to turn to. And the Weeping Hyena was originally a short story about the place where hurting people can go to, and I sort of incorporated it into the novel itself because Jesse Clemmons was a product of a broken marriage. His wife left him, divorced him, and ran off with Iron Axe lead vocalist Larry Henderson. And since his parents didn't understand, or any of his family didn't understand, he felt he had nobody to turn to. He felt nobody could understand his pain. And people like Ichabod Taylor and Alwyn Wolf understands, because they've been through it themselves. And they relay it, and Wild One relays it through the songs that he sings, because he sings the blues. He's a bluesman. I call him a blues master of the blues. And so Jesse comes to this place, and he does something nice for Al One, and records some of his performances live, because he believes in the place. But during that time, he still suffers from depression. He still suffers from loneliness. But at that time, Al One had found somebody. He was back on board the train of love. But Jesse was damned, captured, and stuck at Loneliness Station at that time. That's been in one of the songs I've written. And I relay in the songs that I put in the novel, because I've written a number of songs like Broken Hearted Blues and Valentine's Day Blues and Long Cold Winter. A lot of original lyrics in the novel. And during that time, Jesse had some difficulties, and it's through the weak moments that Lucifer, the devil, attacks him and says, "You're worthless, you're nothing, you're nobody. Your loneliness proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Nobody understands your pain. Nobody cares, and nobody will. You might as well commit suicide. Nobody's gonna miss you when you die. Your loneliness proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt." And he hears that. And there's one point within the first 5 chapters, after hearing the devil say, "You're worthless, you might as well commit suicide," there came an old man an old homeless man, and he seemed to know Jesse's name. I think he could have been an angel in disguise. He says, "Hang on, Jesse Clemmons, don't give in to the devil. Don't give in to those thoughts of suicide. God's going to carry you through this." And eventually God does. And he does hold on. But most of the struggles that I have with depression, I put in the novel, because I can identify with the feeling of worthlessness, feeling of being a nobody, being worthless and alone, and feeling that nobody loves me at all. I put that of myself into the main character. But in the story, eventually he overcomes this, and as one will see as they read on in the book.